What's the fastest way you can get rich? It's probably a question that you have asked a lot of times, especially if you are just starting out in the workforce or you're now an adult. They tell you to get a job and stuff like that. You're thinking about that, like, what is the fastest way you can get rich? I asked that question a lot myself as well, and in this video I'm going to tell you exactly how you can do it and avoid the common traps. First step is to work on your mindset. For every single video, I'm always going to start with the mindset, is because that's where it starts. What you have within you is what you see in your life. A lot of people who do not come from a wealthy background, they have a negative relationship with money and wealth. They think money is evil, or they think I'm never going to be able to attain my goal with wealth, or they would just always be in a scarcity mindset. They would be afraid to spend their money. They'd be very frugal. They would be very cheap. And they think if they spend, they will never get it back. All that stuff needs to change if you want to truly live in abundance. By having a negative relationship with money, you're actually chasing it away from your life. So that's probably the reason the more you chase, the faster it runs away from you, because you're not in the right state to attract it. And money, just like any other energy, is an energy. So you have to treat it that way. I'm gonna show you a clip in a second that shows how frequency works. So you're gonna see that when you want to attract a frequency that you're aiming for, you need to resonate at that same frequency. I'll play that in a bit right now. Watch that and then come back. So as you saw in that video, the guy was hitting the tuning fork with a different frequency, but when he hits the tuning fork with the frequency that's on the table, you saw both of them resonating. That's the law of resonance, and life is no different than that. And especially when it comes to wealth and money, you have to change your vibration and the way that you see it, so that you're able to attract that into your life. And things that you can do to change that is, first of all, you can listen to some positive affirmations about money and wealth. So if you have any negative beliefs, it will reverse those beliefs that's harming you. And other things that you can do is visualization. And you have to visualize yourself already having the things that you want. You need to visualize yourself already being wealthy. And what it does, it signals a component in your brain called reticular activation system. And that's the part of your brain that filters only the information that's relevant to your life. Every single moment, there's so many events that are happening around us. Our brain cannot process everything. It will just be too much. So what it does, it has a filter, that's the RAS, reticular activation system, that only filters and brings forth the stuff that are relevant to your life. You may have probably experienced this. So let's just say you went and bought a new car. So you thought, there's this red Mazda that nobody has, so you went and bought that because you never seen that on the road. And when you start driving the car, you're gonna see the red Mazda that you're driving everywhere on the road. It's in every corner, and it seems like everybody's having it. Do you think it just started appearing magically? No. So the car has already been on the road before. It's just your mind was not bringing it forth to your conscious because it was not relevant to your life before. And now you have that car, all of a sudden it is relevant to your life, so you start seeing that. And that's how this reticular activation system works. And this is where visualization comes in handy. When you visualize you're already being wealthy, or like when you visualize anything for that matter, you're letting your mind know that that goal is very important to you. So it will start looking for opportunities and things in your life that will bring forth that vision to reality. So that's why visualization and programming your mindset to have positive relationship is very important. If you don't do that, no matter how hard you do or no matter what you do with the next steps, you're always going to chase it away. So even when you get rich, even when you get money, you will find a way to just get rid of it all. So that's the first place I would start. Second is what I call working the ladder. We all come from different backgrounds and different situations from life. Some of you may be very underprivileged and you come from nothing. So like you can think of yourself, you're in the basement floor. You come from poverty, and there's no shame in that. That's just a situation, right? And there could be someone else, like they come from a decent background, they have like a good foundation, so they could be in level 5. Regardless, all of you that are watching, you're probably looking to get to the next level or to attain the financial freedom, and you need to reevaluate where you're at currently. So if you're a student, or like if you are working a minimum paying job, you got to look at what is the next level, and you need to see the system that we're living in as a game. So you always need to look for opportunities where you can minimize the time that you're trading for money. What can you do to make the most money with little time? Because most people, they trade time for money. And even if you work like double shifts, like like a minimum paying job, even if you're working 18 hours a day, you feel like you're getting nowhere because you're not getting anywhere. That's why you feel like you're getting nowhere, because the cost is catching up to you, bills are catching up to you. So no matter how hard you work, you're not going to get anywhere because you're not moving towards the next level. So this is what working the ladder means. So wherever you're at, if you're at minimum paying job, you got to look at what can you do to escape that situation. It could be learning a high demand skill that will help you get to the next level. Instead of from a minimum paying job, you could be going to a 9-to-5 job, or like a highly skilled job that pays you more and gives you extra time on the side. So what I'm getting at is, if you're working hard and you're not getting anywhere and you're wasting all this time trying to work hard to make the money, it's not going to get you anywhere. So instead, you have to look for ways where you are saving some of the time, where you're making the most money for the less time possible. That's going to be important for the next step, which is, so once you get to the next level, you have some time where you're not working 12 hours a day. You have like a 9-to-5 job, or like it could be that you maybe even have your own business. It's still 9-to-5, or like a limited hours. Once you get to that stage, you need to start thinking about what are you going to do for the rest of the time. So everybody's priority is different, right? So a lot of people, when they get to that the 9-to-5 job stage, they just kind of chill out, it's called golden handcuffs, right? So a lot of people, they just like, what, I can see myself doing this for the rest of my life. There's nothing wrong with it. They go about their day, they go wake up, then They do their job and then come home and then they just watch like Netflix, or like they just watch TV shows and then wait for the weekend to roll around. And when the weekend comes, they just go party, and then that's it. And then they have a family and stuff like that. That's okay. If that's what you want, you can stop there. But if you're watching this video, you want something larger than that. You want something that sets you totally free. So if that's what you want, continue watching. What you can do at that point is you need to think about what can you do in that extra time that will free you from this 9-to-5 job. So that's again, working the ladder, always thinking about the next step. Because with the 9-to-5 job, or like with a stable career, you're still trading your time for money. Our goal is get to a point where you're trading the least amount of time for the money. Right? That's what freedom is. Because if you're still like trading your time, which is non-renewable resource, for money, it's a bad trade. It doesn't make any sense. So what can you do is, at that point, you probably have the resources now and you have some extra cushion in your paycheck. At this point, you can start thinking about what business you can start on the side. And there are a lot of opportunities online. You can start some of the things, if you want me to mention. You can start an e-commerce store. You can start like a digital marketing agency. You can start like a freelancing career on Fiverr. It doesn't matter. There's so many careers that you can start online. Or you can even start a YouTube channel like what I'm doing. You can become a teacher, create a course of a topic that you have expertise in, and then you can sell that course. There are enormous and numerous amount of ways for you to make wealth online. And once you set up an online venture, the beauty is, at the beginning, of course, it's going to take you a lot of time and effort to set it up. But once you set it up, it's all passive. Like your marketing is going to be on autopilot. If you have, especially if it's a digital content that you're sharing, it's going to be passive wealth. So you have accomplished the trading the least amount of time for the money. At the beginning, you may be investing a lot of time to set it up, but down the road, it will pay reward. So you can think about what it is that you want to start. And I know some of you may be watching from a different part of the world where there may not be a lot of opportunities. I don't want you to use that as an excuse to not start it, because internet is a big leveling field. No matter where you're at, everybody, if you can connect to the internet, you have the same amount of opportunities as somebody living in New York. Even if you're living in a third world country, like in Africa or something like that, you have the same amount of opportunities online as somebody living in a place like New York. So that you have no excuses. You can literally start anything you want online. I can make a separate video on what I think is the best opportunities online next time, but I want to continue talking about this subject, so let's move on next. So let's just say that you have set it up like an online business. It's starting to work. You don't stop there. You think about what other revenue sources I can add to my portfolio. You can then look into investing in stocks. So a lot of people, they start with stocks before setting up an online business, but I prefer you to start with an online business and then use stocks as like an extra resource, because stocks are very slow. And I'm talking about not like a gambling, like options and stuff. I'm talking about the traditional stock investing. The returns are very minimal, so you won't be making a lot of money with that. So if you want to get rich quick, you need to have a business, right? So that's why I mentioned online business. And the second point, continuing my second point, you have to continue building your your revenue streams, like different multiple revenue streams. It could be an online business, then you have a job, and then you start a stock portfolio with the dividends. And at that point, you should be in a pretty good state where you can save a lot more money than you can spend. And by the way, while you're doing all this stuff, it's very important that you keep your expenses to minimum. I don't mean to, I'm not saying you to be cheap. Cheap is different. Cheap is like you are afraid to spend the money. Trying to keep the expenses to minimum is not indulging yourself on things that offer no return. Like, don't go out and buy like an expensive car, like right out of your first job, because you're just putting yourself in a massive loan and a massive debt, because debt is a killer. All right, debt is not good for you. You want to stay away from debt as much as possible. The only good debt, there are good debt and a bad debt, right? Like the good debt are like if you have a real estate portfolio, those are good debt, depending on how you structure the deal. But if you have bad debts, such as car payments, all that stuff is liability. So you have to educate yourself on all these things. This is called financial literacy, right? Like, they don't teach you this stuff in school. So you have to learn how the system works so that you're financially literate. You can pick up books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You can learn from so many books that's available out there. Some of the books that I think help me understand all the stuff is, like I said, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a great book to start. And then there are some good books by Tony Robbins, by Money Master the Game. And then you can, if you want to understand how the economy works, you can look into Ray Dalio. He's a great resource. So you can learn about this financial system and how it works, because at the end of the day, this system is a game, and if you want to win it, you have to know how it works. If you don't know how it works, you're going to get taken advantage of people who knows how it works. That's all it is. Yeah, so just to repeat, work on your mindset so that you have a healthy relationship with money, so that you're attracting it into your life. Second step is to work the ladder. Always look for opportunities where you're trading the least amount of time for the most amount of money. And the third step is create an online business. There's so many online opportunities you can start. Some of the things that I just mentioned in this video are like an e-commerce business, or you can start like a digital marketing agency, or you can start a YouTube career. There's so much, right? So what you have to find out what it is pulling you towards, and then try that. Don't be afraid to fail. Like this is what I mean by not being cheap. Like a lot of people, they're too afraid to take a risk with a business. They'd rather go out and spend $30,000 on a car, but they're too afraid to spend like $5,000 to start a business that could have massive upside. So you have to see everything as an investment. So don't be afraid to spend money. Think of spending money as an investment. When you spend, think like you're going to get it 10 times back in return. So that's the abundance mindset. And then once you have an online business, you can start looking for setting up other multiple revenue streams. And when you have enough income you're generating and you're in a very good place financially, you can look into real estate, because at that point you should be at a place where you're saving a lot of money, and then you would have enough money to down payment. Real estate is, in my opinion, the ultimate cheat code to get rich, especially in the last 10 or 15 years when the economy is booming. Think about it. When you buy a property for $500,000 and you put 10% down, for $50,000 you have an asset 10 times more than value. So when that $500,000 property goes up even 10%, you already made 100% return on your investment. And on top of that, Real estate is a tangible asset, unlike other investments that you may be investing in. So the money that you put in is, it's like a savings account, but you got to be very careful. Not every real estate is good. Like a lot of people, like a lot of real estate agents, they just like, push you without even understanding your financial picture. The reason why I said real estate at the end, because if you do real estate at the beginning, you're going to be, it will be more of a liability than an asset, because you wouldn't have enough money after that to set up the online business, to set up the other revenue streams. You got to do the opposite. You got to set up the online business, you got to set up the revenue streams before you invest in real estate. When you invest in real estate, you got to be in a position where you're not, you have enough. You're not thinking about your how are you going to pay the next bill. That's when you get into real estate. So that is like I would say, like, you're almost at the top of the ladder, because once you're able to buy real estate, you can use leverage to your advantage, especially in an inflationary environment, when in a growth economic cycle. It works out the best. During the downturn like we're facing, you want to wait, and you want to wait for it to drop and then get in, so that way you're not catching the falling knife. Anyways, I don't want to go into the topic of when is the right time to invest. I'm just giving you some suggestions on things that you can do. Yeah, so that's what I would do. That's be the fastest way you can get rich. Hope you find it helpful. Until next time, take care and be fearless, my friends. Bye.